This week on the Dearly Discarded podcast, I have a guest who we met through social media through a mutual friend, and she stated that she was very interested in getting her story out. So I tracked her down, and she is with me today. Her name is Josephine Fillier, all the way from Canada. Josephine, welcome to the Dearly Discarded podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm always happy to tell these stories, and we've had a little bit of a drought on this podcast lately as scheduling has been a little bit more difficult the last few weeks, but glad to have you on and help you tell your story. Tell us just a little bit about yourself prior to, well, the need to talk about this.
Well, I'm a single mom of three kids, and I've always been interested in my health and very cautious with my health. But this vaccine has literally changed my entire life and the way that I look at what goes into my body since I've been injured 18 months ago. And I'm just here trying to spread awareness and get my voice across because I've been silenced.
Yeah, and that's, of course, why we have this podcast to raise awareness of this problem and not just the injuries, which are, of course, devastating in their own right, but the silencing and censorship regarding these injuries. So I'm really, really happy to help you tell your story today. Let's go ahead and just start with the vaccination. Which vaccine did you receive?
I got Pfizer, only one dose.
One dose, okay. And when was that?
June 18th, 2021.
All right, so we're what are we, almost a year and a half removed from that now. And what was the what happened with that post vaccination?
Well, I got injured 2 hours after it went into my body, and I had a bruise prior to it that never healed fully. And I guess since I was already injured to begin with, once the chemicals of the vaccine went into my system, it started attacking that one spot. So it was on my right thigh that I had my bruise. And when I got the injection, 2 hours later, I started having a burning sensation in my right thigh where I had the bruise. And I thought, okay, well, I'm highly in tuned with my body. I've studied the human body since I was 7. It's always been a passion, biology and health. And I knew something was wrong instantly. I knew that I shouldn't have got it in the first place because my intuition gave me severe panic attacks before my appointment, but I didn't listen to my intuition, so I got it, and then I started getting burning sensations in my leg, and I was talking to my partner at the time and told him there's something seriously wrong, and I knew instantly, and ever since then it just escalated into more and more health problems along the way.
That's really interesting. So you felt it first there at that bruise in your leg. What happened after that? What kind of escalation are we talking about?
There was a burning sensation, like my leg was on fire. There was a tingling and crawling sensation, like there was bugs all over my legs. And it just escalated from that to lumps all over my legs, swelling. I had severe fatigue and depression and anger issues. I've had chronic chronic pain all over my legs. Basically, it affected my legs for the first 6 months mostly, and it just got worse. This year, it started spreading through the rest of my body.
So you're saying then 6 months later, 7 months later into 2022, you continued to see additional new symptoms. Is that right?
Yeah. It's been like I've had internal vibrations, electrical shocks in my spine where it connects to my head. I have lumps and swelling that feels like bruises on my scalp. I have like internal vibrations constantly. It feels like there's bugs crawling over me. I have stabbing pains. I can't control the temperature whatsoever. I get super cold really easily. I get really, really hot easily, like I'm going to explode or I'm going to freeze to death. Like I live in St. John's, Newfoundland, and it is very cold here all the time, even in the summer. And I just can't regulate temperature. I feel like I'm going to faint, or it feels like I'm going to have a heart attack. I had chest pains, and I didn't realize that all these symptoms were due to the vaccine, like right away. I knew like the burning sensation in my legs were, but like these other pains, I was struggling with a lot of stress with my kids and my family at the time. So the chest pains were just, I thought it was my anxiety, and I didn't put anything together. I didn't know the severity of the vaccine and the ingredients and what it does to the body until I found the truckers convoy in Ottawa. And when I went there to be with all these protesters, I found the truth about what I had put into my body. And I became very suicidal. And I didn't feel like I could keep on going with this. I've had a tremor in my leg in April that lasted about 40 minutes, and it stopped once I got into a hot bath. It was because I was cold. I went out for a walk and I was cold. And then I came home into the heat and my legs started to tremor for 40 minutes. And I ended up like I know how to take care of the body, like the symptoms and stuff, like holistically. So I just jumped into a hot bath. Like I heard something in my head that told me get in a hot bath. So once I did that, I guess regulated my temperature and the tremors went away in my body. But it's been pretty excruciating having to deal with this because my own doctor hasn't believed me at all. Nobody believed me, only the freedom fighters.
That was the next question I was going to ask, is if you'd had any medical support. So have you been able to find anybody since then on the medical side that's been able to help you?
No, I've actually had to do all, like my doctor of 22 years, he's been my doctor since I was 10. So he knows my entire history. He knows my mom, my sister, and my children. But he's gaslighted me this entire time. I actually had to have a severe mental breakdown in his office about a month and a half ago for him to get me an appointment with a neurologist. So that I have that appointment in March of 2023. But basically, for the last 18 months, I've had to do my own research, my own diagnosing, and my own detoxing myself.
Yeah, the I wish, Josephine, that when I did these interviews, I didn't hear so many similar stories of how you're treated when you bring this up and say, "Hey, I got the vaccine, and prior to that, I was fine," and then all of these things. What has your doctor diagnosed you with, or what has he said is wrong if he's not willing to discuss the possibility of the vaccine?
Well, the only thing he basically said about my legs and the problems that I have with my legs is that I should wear compression socks. So basically, that's the beginning of varicose veins. I tried using compression socks and it feels like my legs are being smothered and the circulation is not going properly at all. So they don't work for me. He told me to put my legs up on the wall. Basically, he hasn't connected it whatsoever to the vaccine. Whenever I bring it up, it seems like he deters it to somewhere else, that it's not connected, because he even told me in the office that he knows somebody who took 77 I think it's a lie, but he said that he knows somebody who took 77 vaccines and they're still walking fine, like because they filled out a form for people saying that they were him, like he was impersonating other people. It's basically just a gaslighting tactic. I know about narcissism and gaslighting, so I'm highly in tuned with that. But he basically hasn't given me a right answer at all. And every time I feel my body to feel for more lumps, he joked it off and said that if I didn't look for lumps, I wouldn't find them.
Hmm. Wonderful.
But, we have to look for lumps. Like they always tell us to check for lumps, it could be cancerous. So,
Right. So, where would you say you're at from a symptom standpoint now versus, 6 months ago? Are things getting better, worse, staying about the same?
um, at the beginning, it was a lot worse. Like I felt like I was dying. Since I started doing my detox in March of this year, I feel like some days are really, really good and I'm vibing really high and I'm feeling normal. But then some days I feel like my body is shutting down super fast. And then sometimes I have all those feelings into one day. So it's really hard. I have a lot of neuropathy issues, brain fog, memory loss. I had my phone and my charger in my hand a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot what I was doing. Like I have three kids. I'm struggling a lot with remembering a lot of things, appointments, and things that I need to do. Like I have to put an alarm on my phone to pick up my child from school, or I will forget. And it's it's hard some days. Like I just have faith that I can heal myself because I have the knowledge, I have the determination, and I believe in a higher power. So I believe that my guardian angels and my higher power is guiding me in the right direction because everything since March has helped me out with what to do for my detox. Everything seems like it's landing in my hand. I haven't really searched very much. It just pops up and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll try that. And it seems like it's working, but not as fast as I want it to.
Sure. Well, I'm glad you're at least making some progress. So, do you want to share anything about what you're doing to detox?
Yeah, like I take a lot of supplements every day. It's very expensive what I do, but I take like vitamin D and copper and B complex, fish oils, NAC, glutathione, humic fulvic acid, magnesium, activated charcoal, chlorophyll with alfalfa and spirulina, black seed oil, and I take zinc and quercetin. And I also learned how to make my own hydroxychloroquine, which you can make from grapefruit and lemon peels. So I do that. I take that like every day because you got to take the quinine, the hydroxychloroquine, with zinc, so that way it gets into your cells. And I do a lot of deep breathing and yoga. I'm always outside, grounding my feet in the grass with nature and just trying to learn how to be more present and calm down my nervous system, like just in a natural, holistic way. I don't trust any pharmaceuticals anymore whatsoever. So I started learning about Tai Chi and acupuncture and also Chinese medicine. I drink a lot of water. I have white pine needle tea with star anise, cloves, cinnamon, fennel seeds, and cardamom. So I drink that literally every single day because it flushes out the spike protein from the body and the heavy metals. I take cilantro in smoothies, and I'm always experimenting with new things in my smoothies. I started foraging this year and learning how to identify the medicinal properties in each plant and what it does to the human body and your organs and how to detox and cleanse it all. And I also do a detox bath every single day with borax, baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, apple cider vinegar, Epsom salts or Himalayan or sea salt, essential oils, and lots of hot water. So you have to sweat, basically. You have to sweat out the body and clean out the lymphatic system. And cold therapy really, really helps too, because whenever you get in cold water, you're like gasping for air. And basically, what is happening is that the the heavy metals is sucking out the oxygen from your cells at a super fast pace. So you have to basically put that oxygen back in natural ways of like deep breathing and yoga and movements and being out in nature and like breathing clean, fresh air instead of putting more poisons in your body. And I've also cut out all bad foods, like processed foods, anything that have labels that are with toxic chemicals. I stopped taking deodorant with aluminum and fluoride toothpaste, and I started filtering my own water and cleaning it myself because we're all poisoned. And I'm just trying to flush out my system any way possible that I can.
Well, you've obviously done a lot of homework on this and tried to find the best options that you can. That's a pretty significant regimen. And you say you started most of that in March, or you've sort of tacked things on along the way, or?
Yeah, well, in February, when I came back from the truckers' convoy in Ottawa, I was severely suicidal. I was so angry and I was grieving, afraid that I was going to die. And I have 3 kids, so they're my biggest motivator for all of this right now. But I wanted to kill myself. And then in March, I woke up, like literally woke up out of bed, and a voice inside my head told me to think positively, stay positive, because whenever you're stressed out or afraid, it causes cortisol in the body. When you have too much cortisol, it weakens the immune system. So I just have to stay positive, put my faith in my higher power, and detox. That was the voice that was in my head. So that's all I've been doing ever since then, is just researching from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed about vitamins, minerals, microbes, heavy metals, and poisonous things like ingredients that are in our foods, and just go natural 100% all the way. And I've been finding that ever since I cut out gluten, dairy, sugar, seed oils, and processed fats, I've seen an improvement. Now, sometimes I cave and I have these ingredients because, I'm human. So sometimes, like, it's hard to cut that craving, but mostly I only eat fruits and vegetables and healthy proteins, just like all healthy foods. And I notice that whenever I do have gluten, my symptoms are triggered and I get worse. I get pins and needles and numbness in my body, and it just escalates down, like downhill with that one. But if I eat natural, healthy foods, I feel I'm healing and I'm doing better.
Well, that makes sense to me for sure. And that's one of the things that's really interesting that I do find for sure with a high percentage of the people that I've had the privilege to meet who've been injured through these vaccines. I've met so many who I've interviewed and a lot that I haven't interviewed yet. And one of the things that I hear more often than not is I basically had to change the way that I ate in order to start improving. And of course, when the body is healthy, we are able to abuse it a little bit and eat a lot of those things that aren't so good for us and do okay. But when in the circumstances that you find yourself in, then you have to do everything you can to nourish the body and of course put less and less toxins in. So it's a major
Yeah.
shift. So that's a big change in your lifestyle. Obviously, what else has changed in your life because of what's happened with the injury?
Well, I used to have so much energy. I used to be able to go all day long. I used to be able to carry my own groceries from the grocery store all the way home without needing a taxi because I don't drive. But now it seems like my arms and my legs are super weak and I can't do all the things that I used to. I feel like I'm going to faint. Like I have so much energy in the daytime, in the morning, but halfway through the day, I feel like my body's about to crash and I need to take a pause, and that's not normal for me. Like within my family, me, my mom, my sister, we're always go 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 all the time. That's always been our personality and our daily lifestyle. But ever since this, it's literally taken away my activity. Like I don't have the energy like I used to anymore. Especially like with my kids, I can't handle certain sounds or lights or electrical sensitivities. Like I had to turn off the Wi-Fi router at nighttime. Every time I'm around the 5G cell towers, I feel my symptoms are worsening. When my kids are playing, it really, really feels like somebody is stabbing me in my head. It's really it's really hard to be a mom and have to deal with this injury and having to heal myself, but also help three little kids also navigate and grow in this world right now with the injury because I don't recognize myself. Like I really don't recognize my body. I feel super disconnected with my own body and disconnected with my environment around me, my world. And I grieve every single day because I miss the old me. I miss the old way that my life used to be before. But it's also given me back a time where I can just enjoy my kids, because like I've seen a lot of stories where people are dying suddenly, people dying in their sleep, and it just makes me feel so grateful that when I breathe, I'm grateful. When I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful now. Just by seeing my kids and them fighting, I don't take that for granted anymore. Right? You used to take all these simple little pleasures for granted before, but now this has given me a whole different other outlook on life. But it's still scary because like I said, whenever I feel like my body is shutting down, I get into a panic attack and I feel like I'm going to die. And I just have to remind myself that if I stay positive, if I keep doing the routine that I have put in place for my life now, which is very exhausting because the majority of my day is all about detox, detox, detox. Like I don't have enough time for myself anymore because all I'm focused on is healing. And it's kind of taken away my life with being able to do the things that I used to like to do before, like dancing and exercising. I have a hard time exercising now because I get really tired after 5 minutes. It's hard, but I like to walk and I like to do yoga, so I'm able to do that without getting too tired very easily. But like I said, at the end of the day, before supper at least, I feel like I'm done for. I'm crashed.
So you said some things that I don't want to skip over too quickly that I think are really, really powerful. I just did a show, we just, of course, passed Thanksgiving here in America. I do a show called Vitality Radio that aired 2 days after Thanksgiving. So I talked a lot about gratitude and the power of gratitude. And it is really interesting. You said a couple of beautiful things because I love what you said about even when my kids fight. And then you referred to that as a pleasure in life. And I think that's so funny because prior to this, I anticipate your kids fighting didn't ever feel pleasurable, but I think I totally understand what you're saying as well. This gratitude thing is so powerful, and it in every challenge, in my opinion, and this is just the world according to Jared here, but in my opinion, every challenge we have, no matter how daunting it might be, and I can't come close to putting myself in your shoes. I've never been at your level of um, injury, illness, that you're dealing with. But the other challenges that I've faced in my life, what I've found is that if we are able to open our minds and our eyes to the blessings that can come through the challenge, then we can fight harder and longer and get to where we want to be on the other side. Is that what you're anticipating?
Well, yeah, gratitude is the only thing that's helping me right now is just like you said, no, before when my kids used to fight, I used to get so upset that they were fighting. It's like, oh my God, like why are they fighting again? Getting very angry and stuff like that, and I wouldn't be able to deal with it. But now it makes me cry, but like in a happy way whenever I see my kids fighting or like whenever I see something. I'm just really grateful for the minutes that I get to spend because like I said, I could die in my sleep tonight. I can, go outside and drop. Like that's what makes me so happy that this has happened to me because now I won't take nothing for granted. Breathing and the just watching a butterfly outside or a bumblebee going from flower to flower. That's what I was doing this summer when I was grounding myself. I used to always miss these opportunities in life. And now since I've had to slow down and just take a breather and just see all the beautiness around me, it's given me a lot to look forward to that maybe I can heal myself in the future and this whole thing will just be a memory in the past. But I just have to stay positive and stay grateful for everything that God has given me in my entire life. And even if it's just my kids fighting, I have to be grateful for everything because that will help me heal.
I think that's absolutely beautiful, and I'm so glad you shared that. There's so many things that we still have power over even when we feel powerless. And of course, maybe the greatest thing is our own mind and the mindset that we choose to have about those things. So I one of the things that I've noticed doing these interviews, there are so many amazing people in this world, and we come from all these different places, different backgrounds, and different religious upbringings or non-religious upbringings, different countries. In this case, me here in America, you in Canada. And yet, as I interview the people on this show in particular who have faced these types of challenges, I just routinely see such beauty in the fight that you are putting up. So even though the illness or the injury is so incredibly debilitating in so many cases, there seems to be a level that I find in you that I definitely hear in your story that you've been able to find in yourself that perhaps you hadn't found before.
It's a very tough time right now to be staying positive and just keep pushing through. That's all I do is just keep pushing through because I know that there's better days than what I've been dealing with for the last 18 months. So when I feel like my world is ending or my body is shutting down, I just keep that faith and the determination to do all that I can to get it out of my body and to get my life back the way that it used to be. It probably will never be like my body used to be, but at least it'll be better than it was in the last 18 months.
And perhaps we will find things that can get you all the way back. I have hope for that. I really do for all of the people that I talk to in this situation. Let me ask you two other questions before I let you go, and then of course anything else that you'd like to share, we'd love to have you share. One is, what would you say to other people who have been vaccine injured that are watching this? What have you learned that you feel would be beneficial to them?
They just have to have faith in themselves that if given the right environment, if given the right vitamins and minerals, and just changing your entire outlook on food and exercise and your keeping your mind positive is basically the biggest thing because your mind is a very powerful tool. I've seen it like I'm a very spiritual person. So I have a huge variety of what I believe in, and I've seen the magic work with your thoughts because I've seen it in the past before my injury, and I've seen it now through my injury that your brain, your mind can actually create your own reality. So if you keep saying like with the cells and the spirituality, like biology and spirituality kind of go hand in hand in this aspect, that if you say that you are healthy and you continue saying that, your body will recognize those vibrations and start acting accordingly. That's what I keep reminding myself. Like I've also gotten into sound frequencies because binaural beats are very, very medicinal if you get into it, like 528 hertz and 432 hertz, because we all vibrate at the same frequency of Mother Earth, and her frequency is 432 hertz. And it also has a powerful way of healing your cells and healing the mind and the spirit. So that's what I try and do is basically now I'm just trying to help other people as well with all the detox methods that I've tried and staying positive and everything that I have learned along the way is that you can do it yourself. You don't need outside source. It's all inside. If you have the determination and will to get better and to live a long, healthy life, then all you have to do is just change the way that you look at your body and the outside world and just change your food, change the way that you're moving your body and breathing. Breathing is it's really really easy to breathe the wrong way. The majority of people on this planet right now breathe a very bad way, and it's painful for your body. And if you learn how to breathe in a positive way, then you can heal yourself with those breath works. It's just being natural and changing the way of things that go into your body is key in this aspect right now, I think.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And I don't know if you're familiar with the book Breath from James Nestor. Have you read that one?
No,
So, but
nope.
I'll just say from my own personal, because I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years learning breath work myself. And that book has been really, really helpful. There's some excellent information in there. So I'd recommend that to anybody listening that is wondering how to learn how to breathe, more in tune with the way that your body was designed. He studied, he's actually not a breath expert. He's a journalist who studied ancient breathing techniques for years before and then used them and then decided to write a book about them. But it's a really, really good book. So the next question would be, what would you say to those who are not vaccine injured, who are hearing your story? How can they help in this fight for the vaccine injured? What can they do?
Just believe us. Basically, like I've had to like my partner he actually didn't believe me for 14 months. He only started believing me in the last 4 months because he got two and he's not affected. So I guess he was asleep. I call it asleep to this whole situation that he wasn't highly aware of what it's been doing to my body because it's all internal. He never saw my tremor in my leg. It's mostly internal with my blood circulation and my neuropathy. And I've lost two friends that I've known for 10 years because they don't believe me. My doctor doesn't believe me. I also have my family, my sister, who has one, and her kids think that I'm going crazy, that it's all inside of my head. And nobody has believed us, like the vaccine injured whatsoever. And just by being acknowledged and believed, that can go a long way. So that way we don't feel alone. Because if you say that we're crazy over and over again, that's going to cause us to be more mentally declined with our beliefs of our own body, right? And it's going to be more harmful for us to heal. So just by believing and supporting us and just by listening and being there is really really a help right now. And I'm glad that I went to the truckers convoy, because if I didn't go to the truckers convoy and found the freedom fighters that I have found now, who believe me and believe what's going on with the vaccine injured and these vaccines, I I don't know where I would be actually. Like, I wouldn't have the strength and the determination to continue fighting. I probably would have ended my life back in February. So just knowing that I have a support group is is helping me along the way with my healing.
And if I can add to that, because I 100% agree, the acknowledgement is so important. But the other thing is, one of the reasons, perhaps the reason, that people choose not to believe stories like yours is because they have been told quite the opposite in every other area, right? By their doctor, by the media, by the government, safe and effective, and so on and so on. And so then when one person among however many people they know that have been vaccinated says, you know, I got hurt, then it's easier, I think, in their minds in many cases to believe that that person is wrong and everything else that they've heard is correct. So if you are listening to this and you know more than one person who's been injured, perhaps you've been injured yourself, or a close family member, or you've just listened to the 17, 18 people that we've had on the Dearly Discarded podcast so far, you'll start to recognize that, A, this isn't an isolated incident, because keep in mind that React 19, who brings you this podcast, has over 40,000 members who are all saying the same thing. I was injured. And amidst the censorship and everything else that's been going on, amidst the censorship and everything else that's been going on during COVID, perhaps nobody's been more censored than those who have been injured. So the fact that 40,000 of those people have been able to find one another is quite a miracle, and would indicate to me that there are many, many thousands, and probably tens of thousands more, that have not yet found the support group that they're looking for. So I would say, if you're listening, please share these podcasts. Share these podcasts, because the more people hear these stories, the first one they might not believe, the second, the third, but by the time they hear enough of them, it starts to, you start to see a pattern, and you start to maybe open your eyes to another possibility. All right. So, Josephine, is there anything else that you feel you'd like to share about either your story or any other tips for anybody listening that you think might be helpful?
Just basically, I'm just grateful that it happened, because now this has given me a opportunity for the future. I never had any goals for the future, but with this experimentation of my own body and the knowledge that I have, Um, next year, I'm hoping to become a nutrition coach and help other people, because a lot of people right now are struggling whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. We've all been poisoned in some form or another. And I'm just hoping to give back. Like, I believe that that's the reason why I became injured. That's the reason why I was put on this planet at this time during these crazy situations in life, is to give back to humanity. So, just basically, my tip is to always stay positive and never give up, because you can heal yourself if you give your body the time, the rest, and the right environment to heal. So, just cut out all the bad foods, cut out the smoking, the drinking, whatever you're doing that is triggering your body. Just trust in nature, trust in the healthy foods that over time, it may not take as much time as you want it to, but over time, your body will start to heal and start to create new cells, and you will be back to the way that you used to be before if you just give it time and stay positive.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I love that. And I love the positivity of your message, even in a situation that could otherwise be perceived as just all negative. The fact that you are able to express gratitude for the position that you're in is a really a beautiful thing. And I would dare say, perhaps the best thing that you're doing for your own health. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing that. I am really glad that you reached out on Facebook and said, "Hey, I want to tell my story." So thank you for doing that,
Thank
and
you.
we'll get this story out as far and wide as we possibly can. Josephine, if you need anything else from me, certainly let me know. If there's any updates I can share with listeners in the future, that'd be great as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Derek.
Thanks for joining me, and thank you for listening. Remember, this is not an isolated incident. React 19, as again, represents over 40,000 vaccine injured people here in America and beyond. And there are many, many more that I believe need to be found and need to be made aware that there are organizations like this that can help them out. If you are listening and you are able, and this is a cause that you believe in, then go to React 19. There will be a link in the show description. You can jump on their website and you can help by not just spreading the word, but also donating. All of the funds, 100%, go to the vaccine injured and their support. So thank you so much for listening to me and to Josephine today. My name's Jared St. Clair, and this has been the Dearly Discarded podcast.